sometimes people are afraid that if they have a weak ego structure, they shouldn't be practicing meditation because meditation will further weaken that ego structure. However, and this is ego structure in the sense of ego strength, which is a good thing. However, I would say that it depends on the kind of meditation practice that you do and on the orientation. Because I've had people that have come to me who have official psychiatric diagnosis of borderline personality, weak ego structure, in the sense of another person. They lost all sense of themselves, but not in the good sense, not in the healthy merging sense, but in an unhealthy sense that was dysfunctional, uncomfortable, and caused suffering and disorientation. What I do for people that are in that situation is just a slight modification of the standard meditation that I give to dissolve the self, except with this slight modification, it's an exercise in strengthening or in improving ego strength in the psychological sense of ego strength. The problem is when they're confronted with the other, the sights and sounds particularly, or the physical touch from another human being, they lose contact with themselves, as I said, in a not good way. So what I taught them how to do is when the other looms, that they keep noting feel, image, talk, to keep a strong contact with those subjective elements. The problem was that they were losing consciousness of the strands that produce the self. So with a technique superficially that looks similar to the first step of the deconstruction of self, I gave them the ability to keep contact with the feel, image, talk, even when strong other arose. And just that attentional exercise vastly strengthened their ability to maintain boundaries and to remember who they were in a psychologically healthy way. So I think that there's a lot of subtlety involved in this issue of psychologically healthy self, spiritually healthy self, and so forth. And I've found that the sensory categories that I like to use and the focus methods that I like to use can actually be used either to deconstruct ego in the sense of ego as a problem, but they can also be used to strengthen ego in the sense that ego is a desirable thing in its psychological context.